Are you looking for a way to scale your short-term rental business and buy more properties? Well, co-hosting might be the right fit for you. Welcome to the Co-Host Coach podcast with Joe Roney. This episode of the Co-Host Coach is brought to you by Savvy STR Agents. If you're looking to buy a short-term rental, then contact the STR Savvy Agent team at savvy.realty.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Co-Host Coach. I am Joe Roney, and we are going to talk about onboarding new properties. And is it too late to onboard a new property? I mean, we're going into the first week of April, and there might be some frustrated hosts frustrated owners out there that maybe they didn't see their property book out as much as March, and they're not seeing their summer calendar start to fill up. And they might be ready to make a change. So, how can we as co-hosts make sure that if they decide to make a change and you're the one that's going in there to make that change for them, can make a smooth transition being so close to the peak season and also still book out your summer? So, it's a touchy subject, right? I mean, a lot of these, the reality is a lot of these owners, even if they're frustrated today, they're not happy with their calendar, or their March wasn't as much as they expected, and they're looking at April and May, which we know are shoulder seasons, and they don't have a lot on their books, they are still going to book out their summer with their property manager more than likely, and they may decide to keep them from now until the end of summer and then make a change. But this is a great time to be having conversations with those owners and be looking at properties that you're prospecting that you would love to co-host for, that you could make an impact on those owners' incomes and do a better job than their current property manager. Because this is when you really want to be looking at the calendars of the ones that you would love to manage, and maybe you've been talking to them for a while. Maybe you're just in the early stages of starting your co-hosting business and you're trying to gain new clients. What I'm saying is it's not too late. Right now is not too late for a owner to switch property managers to you. I actually took over 2 properties in April of 2024, and I was happy with the amount of properties I had going into the season. Everything was great, and then all of a sudden, two different people called me. They wanted me to manage. We got them quickly onboarded. It was kind of some last minute. Wow, we got a lot of work we got to do really quickly. But we made it happen, and we were able to bring them on board. And the one property, I think in 2023, did $31,000 for the entire year. And they didn't make the change until April. And we ended up doing $50,000 for them from April through August. So we almost doubled the income from the previous manager for a whole year. So you can still make a huge impact today on an owner on their property if they're looking for a new co-host or a new manager. So April's not too late. Even May 1st is not too late, okay? However, once you get to May, it's getting pretty tough. If they're making a change, they probably got some bookings, and you're in that situation, it's probably to say, let's get contract signed and start your listing on August 1st, once peak season is over, so you can start that. Because it's going to be really tough if they've already got a pretty booked calendar for you to do better than what they already have. Even a bad property manager is going to have that summer semi-booked and have them some decent revenues. And you don't want someone to, what you don't want to do is tell an owner, that you definitely can do something when you don't know, because you're getting pretty late in the season. So we're kind of in we're at the very last week of March, early April here. We got kind of about a 2 to 4 week window that you could add on a new co-host client in a summer market. Okay, I'm talking summer vacation rental markets. If you're down in Fort Myers or south of Bradenton, down that area, Miami, Phoenix, Arizona, this is your slow. This is coming out of your busy season, going into your slow season. Great time for you to go out and pick up new properties, right? I mean, this is a phenomenal time for you. But if you're in a traditional summer vacation rental market, you got a really short window. Okay, so if you're looking to go get new co-host properties, the things that you're looking for right now, is there are a lot of investors buying real estate right now. So if those investors need a co-host, this is when you need to be with your realtors that you're already talking to and talking with them about, about becoming a co-host, becoming a property manager. I just closed on a property in Panama City Beach. In between filming podcasts today, I had emails from 2 different property management companies saying, "Hey, I saw you just sold this house last week. Would your owner, the person who bought it, be interested in, our rental projections? And this is what we project. And this is what we're doing." So this is a great time for you to bring on co-hosting properties on someone that wasn't planning on self-managing from the get-go and getting them instead of that. If they're currently with a property manager that has their whole summer booked, it's kind of a tough pill to swallow to cancel all those bookings, especially with new cancellation fees, specifically with VRBO. Airbnb is a little more lax if they switched property management companies and fired someone, but it's still, there's still a chance for those penalties. But VRBO is going to charge you the penalties no matter what, unless it's a sold property. That's pretty much the only way that VRBO is not going to charge you. So you definitely want to take that into consideration as you're thinking about bringing on new properties. So, properties that are for sale right now and you see them for sale, or actually you can go into Zillow if you don't have a savvy STR realtor that you're working with, then you could go into Zillow and you actually could pull up pending under contract properties in the area and keep an eye out for those. So when they close, so you can find out who that buying agent was and see if you can get your foot in the door that way as well. So lots of opportunities still to grow your co-hosting business, even with us only being weeks away from the busy season. We are not far away. We're kind of in, coming out of spring break. We got another week or so of spring break, and then we're going to get into that shoulder time. But you definitely can have easily add on more properties and grow your business. And most importantly, help these owners that are not making money. That's the biggest thing that I see. Now, are you going to have time between now and peak season to go in and do, tons of updates and change some properties around, anything like that? No, you're not. A couple of the properties that we brought on recently were, it was going right into spring break. We couldn't make adjustments. We're going to try to make some adjustments in the shoulder season, but we just had to say, all right, this is where we are, and we're going to make sure it's set for us for now, and we'll go from there. So, but still a ton of opportunity out there. It is very early in the season to be completely booked for summer. So go out there, find some properties that you can co-host and grow your business. Because if you can get your listings live before summer, you're going to get more bookings, more reviews, and have a more secure listing for when the next shoulder season comes. So tell the owners that you're talking to that now truly is the time. We can make a big impact, but you can't wait too much longer. We're only a month away from kind of the cap on being able to make that change. So I know this week was short and sweet. We are going into April. I am super excited. We got a couple of guests coming on our April podcasts that have jumped into the co-hosting space, crushing this co-hosting space. And I cannot wait for you to hear their story and how they were able to scale so quickly, because it is some pretty good stuff. So be in tune in April, where we have some guests coming on the show and talking about how they were able to scale and what they've done to make a big impact in their business. Till next time, we'll see you then.